Everybody, welcome back to Trail Planet, the YouTube channel. We talk all things media. Got something? Yes, I know. I had one job.
I had one job, guys. One job. Failed.
Everybody, welcome back to Trail Planet, the YouTube channel. We talk all things media. How is everybody doing? Hope it's doing well. And today, guys, we will be doing a review of part 1 and part 2 of the opening episodes for Ahsoka, a Star Wars TV show that is basically Rebels, but also Ahsoka. As always, I am joined by my fellow co-host, Azteral.
Hello, everyone.
And today, guys, we didn't do it the new way because it was 2 episodes. So we just wanted to watch it, and then Will will be doing his famous breakdown.
Literally like 2 hours of Star Wars. It's a lot.
So we had we've got the episodes now.
Episode 1, Master and Apprentice, and Episode 2, Toil and Trouble.
So, Will, if you want to take it away and do the breakdowns, go for it.
So we begin Episode 1, Master and Apprentice, alluding to, obviously, our new mysterious villains, Balin and Shin. The actual episode opens very original trilogy. We have a classic title scroll, though made more modern, with less of the classic Star Wars music and more of like an ominous feel to it. And then we get instead of a Star Destroyer, like it normally is, it's a New Republic prison vessel sliding into frame. Very nostalgic indeed. And on board is obviously the command crew. We get a very Star Trek-y sort of bridge scene where a vessel enters the area. They get confirmation codes that they are indeed Jedi, which obviously we know to be a little bit not so Jedi-y. The captain decides he's calling the bluff of these Jedi, in quotation marks, and heads down to the hangar with security to apprehend these liars. And that's when we get introduced to the late Ray Stevenson's Balin Skull, and I don't know the lady actress's name, but we get introduced to her character of Shin Hati.
Her name is Ivana Sakno.
Obviously, very sadly, but not so recently, a couple of months ago, Ray Stevenson passed away, which means
rest in peace.
This is one of his final performances that he was able to do. And I have to say, from the 2 episodes, already one of my favourite characters in Star Wars.
Definitely, I completely agree.
Love Balin. He's such an enigmatic, charismatic.
You guys don't know he did voice a character in Rebels.
He also played a couple of characters in franchises like the Marvel universe. Obviously, if you watch,
he played Punisher in a live-action movie.
If you watch our recent Trio podcast episode, he played a character in the Thor movie. Fantastic actor, and yeah, very, very good opening for this character. They have a little chat with the captain, who basically calls them out for not being Jedi, and he delivers one of the most badass retorts to someone get their identification. He goes, "Don't worry, I'll give you our identification," and then his apprentice starts absolutely decimating the security detail. Balin force grabs the captain and tells him that he is indeed right. They are no Jedi, and executes him. They then split up. Shin heads to the bridge, and we don't actually get to see what she does to the bridge, but it's enough to scuttle the ship. Scuttling, for those of you that don't know, pirate terminology is when a ship is purposefully dismantled to disable it. While Balin gets his Darth Vader moment straight away in a little miniature hallway scene. Very sort of Knights of Old, the way that he carries himself. He's wielding the lightsaber less like the standard one hand on the hilt style with the hand free for like force maneuvers. He's wielding it more like a great sword or a long sword, both hands on the hilt, maneuvering it very purposefully. Probably still able to wield the force while doing it, but it's a very, very different fighting style that I quite enjoy. Obviously, they're there to secure another reprised character, Morgan Elsbeth, from season 2, episode 6 of The Mandalorian, I believe, titled The Magister. And we find out that Balin is indeed a mercenary, working for Morgan Elsbeth to help her reclaim Grand Admiral Thrawn from his exile. We get the name drop that the Jedi is indeed going for the map to Thrawn, and then we get the name drop of it being Ahsoka Tano. And in that scene, Balin sort of gives Morgan a little bit of a look as if, like, did you just say Ahsoka Tano, apprentice of Anakin? He doesn't say that, but he sort of glances at her like, damn, really? Then we get our title card and the sort of theme for Ahsoka. It's a little bit of like, I want to say like African tribal music. It's quite cool. And then we get to see the opening of the first trailer we got. Ahsoka is on an unknown planet at the time, and she enters into a chamber with 3 sort of statues, very creepy, and 3 pillars. After a very long while, you'll never guess how long, Jordan. Roughly 3 minutes of no dialogue. She gets a sphere, which obviously at the time we don't know what it is. It is actually a star map to Grand Admiral Thrawn, and
He kept saying it looked like a Apple of Eden from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. As she leaves the chamber, she's greeted by a droid with one of the Magna Guard style staffs. And we get sort of like a samurai-y, Mexican-y standoff. It's sort of a mix between like a Western and a samurai film. Ahsoka says her first line of come no closer. And then we get a pretty cool fight scene where she dismantles a bunch of the droids, and then they enter self-destruct, and they detonate, and they decimate half the planet. And Ahsoka gets aboard her ship, which is being piloted by Hugh Young, who is most notably known as A, being played by David Tennant, but also B, as the droid from Clone Wars that helped younglings craft their lightsabers. Pardon me while I drink something, because this is a big one. Ahsoka and Hugh, as I'm going to call him, or David, as I'll call him, have a little conversation about the map, and then they get a distress signal from Home One, which most notably is known as the ship of Admiral Akbar, and they go and meet Hera Syndulla, who is aboard the ship, and she's told that her prisoner, Morgan Elsbeth, has escaped, and is asked if she recognizes either of the 2 Force sensitives that are there. Ahsoka gets Hugh to make a copy to analyze their lightsabers to see if he knows who they are. And Ahsoka tells Hera about the star map and the fact that Thrawn may still be out there because Ahsoka's heard whispers about his return. Hera, being the epic person she is, decides to send Ahsoka to Sabine, who is currently living on Lothal. And that's where we cut to next, where we see the governor, who actually, now that I remember it fully, was the former governor of Lothal before the Empire took over and he was arrested for treason. He's a reprised character from Rebels, played by the always phenomenal Clancy Brown, aka Mr. Krabs. He's giving a speech about the heroes of Lothal, aka Ezra Bridger, who sacrificed his life to save them and liberate them from the Empire. It then introduces Sabine, but she's not there, and so he sends some ships after her. She pulls off a pretty sick maneuver where she slides under one of them when it lands in the middle of the road, and then she goes to Ezra's old hideout, the old comm tower, and she feeds her Loth cap that she now has, and watches a recording of Ezra basically saying that he had to make the difficult choice because that's what Jedi have to do, and that the Force will always be with her. We cut away to Shin, Baylan, Morgan Elsbeth, and Inquisitor Marok on the planet that Ahsoka got the orb from. It's revealed that Morgan Elsbeth is indeed a Dathomiri witch, but she calls herself a survivor. And Shin is then sent to Lothal to get the map from Sabine because Morgan knows that Ahsoka will more than likely take the map to her for whatever reason. We cut back to Lothal again. Sabine's having a little bit of a rough sleep. And then we get one of the iconic ending shots of Rebels where we see the two X-Wings and the ship, which we now know to be Ahsoka's ship, entering Lothal. Sabine meets up with Ahsoka and Clancy Brown, and they have a little chat. She goes into the ship. They show Ahsoka the orb. Hugh's there still, but Hugh is currently trying to identify the lightsabers of the two currently, to Ahsoka, unknown Force sensitives. Ahsoka and Sabine have sort of a reunion, a little like heart-to-heart. They have a chat. Ahsoka asks Sabine if she knows anything about the map and if she can figure out how to open it. She asks to take the map and the hologram that she's shown off the ship. Ahsoka's like, no, that's a really bad idea. Guess what, Jordan? It's a really bad idea. And Ahsoka gets called away by Hugh, who has identified one of the lightsabers. The lightsaber of Shin, he cannot identify, because obviously Shin was not a Jedi before, but however, Baylan's lightsaber is identified, and he's name-dropped to Ahsoka, so now she knows who is responsible for the release of Morgan Elsbeth. Ahsoka leaves the room that Hugh took her to, and Sabine is gone, as is the star map and the holo recording. Shin spies on Sabine, and when Sabine gets back to the comms tower, she spends some time, figures out the how to open the map. Meanwhile, Ahsoka talks to Hera and is like, "Listen, she took this thing off the ship. She's not supposed to do that. I told her not to." She figures it out anyway, and then she opens up the map, and we see the Star Wars universe in the center, and another galaxy appear with a line connecting the two. And obviously, as of right now, in this particular part of the episodic breakdown, we don't know what that is. We eventually find out that is the galaxy of Paradia, which obviously, according to Baylan in the second episode, I believe, is sort of a folk tale within the Star Wars universe that the Jedi younglings would tell each other. Shin attacks, more accurately, her droids attack. One of the droids grabs the map, destroys all of Sabine's research and recordings. She grabs Ezra's lightsaber, pursues, contacts Hugh. Her and Shin start fighting. Ahsoka and Hugh start rushing over, and then sort of the unthinkable happens, and Sabine is impaled with a lightsaber. Roll credits. That's sort of the ending of episode 1. Episode 2, as I pull it up to fully remember what happened, opens with a fake out of the sort of impaling of Sabine. Also, notably, within the opening credits of any Star Wars show, we get a flash of certain characters in different lighting, usually indicating either their alignment or the current state of events in the galaxy. Notably, Inquisitor Marok is present in this particular opening, and the colour shown for him is blue, which is interesting. But we open to Ahsoka sensing, I believe, Sabine's dreams. Sabine wakes up and basically says that she opened the map and that she was attacked by droids and she disabled one of them. Ahsoka rushes off, presumably to go get the thing. Baylan, Shin, and I believe Marok's probably there as well, end up at some sort of ancient area where they place the orb, and they figure this is the point of something to like get to the galaxy. We cut back to Ahsoka, now at the tower, who goes and investigates, sees the Loth car, goes and basically sees the hologram recording of Ezra, gets jumped by a robot, she disables it in like 2 seconds. We go to the hospital, and Sabine's like, yeah, I can deal with this. She decides to hook into one of the redundant systems of the droid to access its memory and download it to figure out where it was made and where it came from. To do that, she has to balance power levels, and she nearly blows up a wing of the hospital because she's rushing. But they find out that the droid came from Corellia, and we know that it's a HK series droid, which, for anyone who doesn't know, the HK series units of droids were droids commonly associated with the Jedi Knight turned Sith Lord turned Jedi Knight turned Grey Force user Darth Revan, or just Revan. He is known for being accompanied by several different units. So Hera heads to Corellia to check on Morgan Elsbeth's things because she has factories down there. Ahsoka joins her. But before we get to go see Corellia, we cut back to Morgan Elsbeth arriving, and she shows Baylan and Shin the map to Peridia. They have a little chat. Baylan's like, I feel like our path forward is clouded. Shin is sent to help Marok, who is on Corellia, securing an unknown thing at the time. Later we find out it's a massive hyperdrive, one of 9 actually. Speaking of Corellia, we cut back to it. Ahsoka arrives, they have a chat with the sleaziest regional manager to ever exist. They head into a control room after a brief conversation where Hera basically tries to beg Ahsoka to take Sabine back on as an apprentice. Sabine is healed from her impalement, and Hugh Young basically tells her to stop wasting her time and to start her training back up because the only time she's wasting is her own and no one else's. And she seemingly agrees. Back on Corellia, the ship with the experimental hyperdrive starts departing. They find out that one of the HK droids is on that ship, and so Ahsoka wants to stop it to inspect it. Hera tries to get them to because she's a general of the New Republic. They deny. One of them screams, "Long live the Empire." Everyone in the room starts attacking Ahsoka and Hera. Not much of a problem for these two guys, though. Ahsoka jumps down and is confronted by the only character in this show with a red lightsaber. Yes, I'm going to stick with the fact that Baylan and Shin have got orange lightsabers. Inquisitor Marok's there. And they have a Mexican standoff. Remember, guys, Mexico does not exist in the Star Wars universe.
I was waiting for it.
And they have a nice little duel. Hera goes to the Phantom to chase down and try to basically either stop or track the ship. We get to see Chopper again. That's pretty cool. The fight's actually fucking awesome. Inquisitor Marok is another one of the characters that I quite like in the show. Hera gets a tracker on the ship. Ahsoka's happy. Cut back to Lothal. Sabine's back in her place. She sets her armor out. She gets Ezra's lightsaber. She gets a helmet. She gets a knife. She cuts her hair. Um, Hera tells Ahsoka that she'll inform her when she has more information about where the ship went, which I thought was going to be a filler episode. Turns out it's not going to be. Ahsoka gets a hologram message from Sabine, who says that she's ready. And then we get the very, very iconic ending scene of Rebels with Sabine at the altar, the memorial of Ezra and the Ghost crew. And Ahsoka appears in the background along with Hugh, and they head off, and Ahsoka calls Sabine her Padawan. I thought that was the end of the episode because they sort of jettisoned themselves into hyperspeed, and I was like, yeah, that's a nice place to end it. Nope, we cut to the hyperdrive being installed inside a massive ring, which I believe is a ship. I thought it was a hyper docking ring at first, like the Jedi use for their their like fighter ships. No, it's got a bridge. It's an actual ship from the look of it, which means that this ship has 9 hyperdrive cores. 9. Do you know how many a Star Destroyer has, Jordan?
Less.
1. It has 1, maybe 2, if it needs a redundant one. This thing has 9. How many hyperdrive cores does it need to cross galaxy? They have a little chat. We have some like weird hologram technology on the ship. Instead of it being like a flicker on and display the person,
It looked very
like
night. It looked very Night Sister.
Yeah, nanotechy in a way. Baylan basically says that he senses Ahsoka as being elusive in the Force, but her determination is vivid, and that she is coming. Morgan says that nothing can stop their departure. Roll credits. That's episode 2.
That was episode 2. That was episode 1. So, thoughts?
I liked it. It was okay.
I thought we were worried about.
It was nowhere near as good as like Mandalorian season 1, but it's fine.
It was good. I can't wait to find out. I can't wait to find out more about what Paradia is.
I wouldn't say that it's overwhelmingly amazing or like extremely good, but it's like average, which may sound like critiquey, but it feels like this is more of an origin for the show than it is actual part of the story.
Yeah.
This feels like they're trying to explain all the stuff that has happened in the past few years and explain the motivation of all the characters in as quick a time as possible in order to do episodes 3, 4, 5, 6 as like hardcore. Here is your actual story for this season, if there are multiple seasons.
Is it really a multiple season show?
Probably. I mean, it depends how exactly, because obviously the idea behind what people are affectionately calling the Mandoverse is it ends with one massive crossover movie where they fight against Thrawn. And I feel like 2 seasons of Ahsoka, one where they're trying to stop him from returning, one where they've got to deal with his return before the film and like gather allies would be in order, especially if Ezra is alive, which it sort of alluded to that he is. So yeah.
If Thrawn's alive, I'm expecting Ezra to be alive.
Yeah, unless Thrawn murdered Ezra.
It would really annoy me if it turned out they casted Ezra just for him to be a fucking hologram. Like, if you're going to be casted in Star Wars, you want to play that character and not just play it not in live action.
Overall, I would probably say it's like a 6 out of 10.
For these episodes?
Yeah.
Are we rating these as like one episode, I'm guessing? Then?
I'm rating it as like overall because they released it together, which means they ideally want you to watch them together.
I would have to say, I think. I'm gonna give it a 7. Just, just to give it a 7. But yeah, anything else?
No, that's
No.
sort of like it, really.
Yeah.
It's
So
sort of
yeah,
just it.
we hope everybody did enjoy today's video. I have been one of your hosts, Slasher,
I've been your other host, Azteral.
and we will see you all in the next video. We hope everybody did enjoy, and go check out our podcast, all of our social media, and all that. Follow us on all of that stuff. Do what YouTube tells you to, subscribe, and all that stuff. And we hope you did enjoy. And bye for now. And may the force be with you.
May the force be with you always.
Forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them.
It's over, Anakin!